Most people believe their thoughts stay inside their minds, private, contained, harmless, self-contained sparks of awareness that vanish as quickly as they appear. But that's not how reality works. The moment a thought forms, it doesn't end with you. It leaves you. It exits your internal world and enters the quantum field as a vibrational imprint, as real and measurable as a ripple traveling across water. Every thought you've had, even the ones you dismissed, sent a signature into the field. Nothing you think is lost. Nothing disappears. Everything you think becomes part of the architecture of your future. This is the first truth most people never learn. Thoughts do not remain internal events. They become energetic broadcasts. They imprint themselves into the unseen layers of reality, and the field responds instantly, long before you see any evidence. Your thoughts travel further than your voice ever could. They move into a space your senses can't access, but your future can absolutely feel. Quantum physics calls this process information propagation. A thought isn't a metaphor. It is information. And information can't be contained. It moves. It spreads. It interacts with surrounding fields. Your mind generates a pattern. Your nervous system codes it with emotion, and the quantum field receives it as a frequency. In that moment, often before you've even finished thinking, your future begins rearranging itself around that signal. But here's the part that most people overlook. The field doesn't respond to your thoughts as sentences. It responds to the frequency beneath them. It doesn't hear "I want success." It receives the vibrational imprint of whether that desire is rooted in fear, desperation, openness, confidence, or coherence. A thought that carries clarity enters the field like a seed that knows exactly what it will grow into. A thought wrapped in fear enters the field like static, scattered, inconsistent, unable to germinate. Every thought plants something. The question is what? This is where science and spirituality meet perfectly. Neuroscience shows that every thought triggers micro-shifts in your emotional chemistry. These micro-shifts change your heart rhythm, your electromagnetic field, your hormonal output. Those biological frequencies extend beyond your body. Your internal state becomes an external broadcast. So your thoughts don't just exist in your mind, they reshape your biology, which in turn shapes the frequency you emit into reality. And the quantum field doesn't wait for you to repeat the thought. It doesn't wait for you to visualize it. It doesn't wait for you to meditate on it. The first broadcast is enough to begin the formation process. It's the spark, the ignition, the first vibration that tells the universe, here is a direction. Whether it becomes a clear outcome or dissolves into noise depends on what happens next, how consistently you broadcast that signal, and whether your identity matches it. But something even more fascinating happens the moment a thought reaches the field. It doesn't just move outward, it echoes back. The field immediately begins returning subtle feedback, adjusting your intuition, shifting your emotional tone, or presenting micro-opportunities that align with the seed you've planted. You feel this as sudden clarity or sudden discomfort, as an idea that emerges out of nowhere, as a sense of expansion, as a sense of contraction. The field always responds to the seed, but most people miss the echo because it's quiet, delicate, and arrives before any external signs. This is why the earliest stage of manifestation feels like nothing is happening, because the feedback loop is invisible. The field reorganizes probability behind the scenes first, and only later does reality reveal the visible results. It's the same way a seed grows underground long before it breaks through the surface. The most important transformations happen where you cannot see them. The universe works in silence before it works in sight. But the true mystery unfolds here. A thought doesn't become powerful because you think it. It becomes powerful because you become the person who can hold it. The moment a thought leaves your mind, it creates a vibrational blueprint in the field. Whether that blueprint becomes your reality depends entirely on your alignment with it. That alignment begins internally, subtly, quietly, in the shifts you feel before anything in your life changes. And here is the open loop that will shape this entire video. If you understood what your thoughts do the moment they reach the quantum field, you would never think casually again. Because once a thought enters the field, it begins shaping probability. and probability eventually becomes reality for the identity that matches its frequency. What the field does with your thoughts next is something almost no one knows. But you're about to. Most people assume nothing is happening when they can't see changes in their physical reality. They think manifestation begins when results appear. They imagine the universe is silent, still or unresponsive until something obvious happens, a sign, an opportunity, a breakthrough. But the truth is the opposite. The quantum field does its most important work long before you ever see anything. It expands your thoughts quietly, invisibly, and precisely, in a way your senses weren't designed to detect. This is the stage I call quantum germination. It's the process where a thought becomes more than a thought, where it starts transforming into a probability structure, a subtle configuration of energy that begins influencing your future. And just like a seed planted underground, all the important growth happens in the dark, where you cannot track it with your eyes. Quantum physics describes this process as wave amplification. After your thought enters the field, it doesn't stay still. It spreads. It resonates. It attracts compatible frequencies and repels conflicting ones. It looks for coherence. It begins organizing itself into a pattern that reality can eventually collapse into form. But this process is fragile in the beginning. Interference, doubt, fear, overthinking, emotional contradiction can scramble the signal before it stabilizes. This is why the early stages feel so quiet. The field protects the seed by keeping it underground. The universe keeps the beginning invisible because visibility would expose the process to your old identity, the part of you that doubts, questions, or sabotages. Hidden phases are not punishment. They are preservation. Growth is silent because silence is safe. Everything you've ever manifested began in that hush. But here's where things become even more fascinating. Your body senses the quantum germination before your mind does. Long before any external shift, your internal state begins subtly reorganizing. Your breath deepens without reason. Your emotional charge around the desire softens. Your nervous system relaxes. Your intuition becomes a degree clearer. These are not coincidences. These are the earliest signs that your thought seed has not only reached the field, but is already being expanded by it. Neuroscience explains this through predictive recalibration. When the quantum field begins amplifying your signal, your brain receives microsignals of alignment. It starts adjusting your inner world, your emotions, your expectations, your state, to become compatible with the reality being formed. But because the brain updates quietly, you may not interpret these shifts as progress. You might feel more neutral, more calm, or less obsessed. You may think you're losing momentum, when in truth you're gaining coherence. Coherence is what allows the seed to sprout. The quantum field responds fastest when your thought becomes emotionally consistent. Not loud, not intense, not dramatic. Consistent. Consistency is what transforms a thought into a timeline. It's what strengthens the seed until it breaks through the surface of physical reality. Consistency is the soil. This is why some manifestations appear out of nowhere. They weren't random, they weren't sudden. They were growing silently beneath your awareness the entire time, organizing people, aligning opportunities, dissolving obstacles, shifting probabilities, while you thought nothing was happening. The universe has no interest in showing you the seed before it's ready. It shows you the fruit when your identity can hold it. But here's the part most people misunderstand. During the germination phase, your manifestation is not waiting for you. It's growing. It's unfolding. It's becoming real. You are not waiting for the universe. The universe is waiting for your signal to stabilize enough for it to finalize the collapse. And your thoughts either nourish the seed or disrupt it. When you revisit your desire with fear, insecurity, or doubt, you send contradictory frequencies into the same field. Those signals collide. They scatter. They destabilize the blueprint. Sometimes they uproot the seed entirely. But when you revisit the thought with neutrality, clarity, or calm confidence, the field amplifies it. It widens the probability. It accelerates growth. This is why the germination phase feels emotionally subtle but vibrationally potent. You're not supposed to feel excited. Excitement creates spikes. Spikes create interference. You're supposed to feel steady, grounded, calm, quietly certain, because that is the frequency the quantum field can build upon. If you've felt this quietness lately, a strange sense of inner readiness, a loss of urgency, a soft expectation, that's your validation. That's your thought seed sprouting underground. That's the invisible stage doing its work. And to anchor this moment, to mark the start of your seed's expansion in a way your nervous system can register, declare it. Type in the comments, "My thought seeds are already growing." Not as a ritual, not as a wish, but as recognition of the truth. The moment your thoughts reached the quantum field, reality began shifting. What the field does next depends on how you hold yourself in the silence. There is a phase in the manifestation process that almost no one recognizes, not because it's mystical or hidden, but because it's quiet. It's the phase where your desire is no longer just a thought, no longer just a seed, but not yet a visible outcome. It sits in between worlds, taking shape in the field, reorganizing your future, adjusting your timeline. And the most important rule during this phase is one most people break. You must stay silent. Silence is not superstition. Silence is physics. When a thought reaches the quantum field, it begins stabilizing itself as a vibrational wave. This wave is fragile at first, coherent enough to grow, but vulnerable to interference. Every time you speak about your desires prematurely, you expose the wave to external fields, external expectations, external doubts, and external projections. Sound is vibration. Words carry frequency. And the moment you share your desire with someone whose field is not aligned with yours, you create friction in the wave you're trying to stabilize. In quantum mechanics, this is known as measurement interference, the idea that observing, judging, or interacting with a wave prematurely can collapse it in the wrong direction. When you share a desire too early, other people's interpretations act like measurements. Their doubts, fears, or limitations collide with your signal before it has matured. And suddenly, the wave that was forming your future collapses back toward your old identity. This is why silence accelerates manifestation. It protects coherence. Your early-stage manifestations don't need encouragement. They need containment. They need a shield from external noise so they can develop strength internally. They need your energy, not anyone else's. They need your belief, not someone's skepticism. They need your alignment, not someone's confusion. A seed doesn't grow faster because you dig it up and show it to people. It grows faster because you leave it underground, protected from all the elements that could disturb its roots. The quantum field works the exact same way. Your thought seed is trying to root itself into your identity. To do that, it must become emotionally stable inside you. Every time you talk about it before it stabilizes, you weaken the root. You pull the seed to the surface before it's ready. You introduce noise into a system that was building coherence. And coherence is everything. Neuroscience mirrors this principle beautifully. When you speak about a goal prematurely, your brain receives a dose of dopamine, the chemical of reward. Your mind interprets the act of talking as progress. You feel satisfied. You feel validated. But that dopamine hit actually reduces your inner drive, because the brain thinks the future has partially been achieved socially. The momentum that was supposed to move inward leaks outward. You lose intensity. You lose focus. You lose energetic precision. This is why people who talk the most about their goals rarely achieve them. They spend their energy narrating instead of embodying. Silence, on the other hand, keeps your manifestation in the body. It keeps your frequency focused. It keeps your identity anchored. It keeps your signal precise. When you stay silent, your nervous system maintains a clean line between who you are and who you are becoming. You build an internal container strong enough to hold the manifestation once it arrives. You allow your intuition to speak without interference. You create a field around your desire that is protected, stable, coherent, and coherence collapses timelines faster than anything else. Silence is not secrecy. Silence is incubation. You're not hiding your desires out of fear. You're protecting them out of wisdom. People often assume they need support, validation, reassurance, or applause to manifest their dreams. But those things belong to the ego, not the future self. Your future self does not need external validation. It needs internal alignment. The universe does not respond to how many people you tell. It responds to how consistently you embody the signal. And here's the part that most people never understand. The moment you speak about your manifestation too early, you shift from embodiment to explanation. Manifestation collapses through embodiment, not explanation. When you explain, the energy leaves your body. When you embody, the energy stays in your field. This is why the most powerful transformations happen in silence. Why the most aligned people move mysteriously. Why their breakthroughs appear sudden. Why their timeline changes seem instant. It's not luck. It's not miracle. It's coherence protected by silence. If you've been sensing the urge to keep something to yourself, a desire, a vision, a shift, trust that urge. It's your intuition recognizing the fragility of the wave. It's your future self telling you, this needs to grow inside you before anyone else touches it. When the time comes, when the wave stabilizes, when the frequency matures, when your identity can hold the reality without collapsing, you won't need to tell anyone. They will see it. Your manifestation becomes visible only after it becomes inevitable. And the inevitability is built in silence. There's a moment in every manifestation journey when the universe stops feeling distant and starts feeling responsive. Not because life suddenly becomes easier, but because you become clearer. When your thoughts enter the quantum field, the field responds instantly. But only one thing determines the speed of the physical outcome: whether you can hold the identity that matches what you've planted. This is why embodiment is the final stage. The moment where your internal signal becomes stable enough for reality to reorganize around you. The field is not waiting for your desire, it's waiting for your coherence. And coherence comes from identity, not intention. Think of the quantum field as a mirror made of possibility. It doesn't reflect what you wish for, it reflects who you are. It reflects your baseline emotion, your consistent tone, the vibration beneath your thoughts. When you try to manifest from a fractured identity, your signal is blurry. Your frequency is contradictory. The mirror returns a mixture of outcomes. But when you step into embodied alignment, your signal becomes unmistakable, and the universe has no choice but to rearrange itself to match it. Identity is the anchor of manifestation. Every thought you've planted, every intention you've broadcasted, every desire you've sent into the field is waiting for one thing: the moment your identity becomes the fertile ground where the seed can take root. The universe does not deliver to who you pretend to be. It delivers to who your nervous system believes you are. Neuroscience shows that identity is not a mental concept. It's a physiological state, a pattern of emotional predictions your brain uses to decide who you are. When your identity upgrades, your brain rewires, your breath changes, your posture shifts, your emotional responses evolve, your intuition strengthens. You become predictable to the universe in a new way, not because you're repeating the past, but because you've become internally consistent in the direction of your future. And this is why staying silent was essential. Silence protects this new identity while it's forming. Talking too early exposes your transformation to old versions of you, to people bonded to your past, to patterns tied to former timelines, to energies that no longer represent your path. Silence allows the new identity to grow roots before external reality interacts with it. But now, once the seed has grown inside you, silence transforms into something else. Embodiment. Embodiment means living as the person who has already received what you once hoped for. Not pretending, not forcing, not acting, being. When your identity matches your desire, the quantum field stops hesitating. The wave collapses cleanly. Probability becomes form. Thought becomes reality. You'll know you've entered embodiment because everything feels different. You stop waiting. You stop gripping. You stop asking for signs. You stop chasing outcomes. You stop narrating your transformation. You feel a grounded certainty that has nothing to do with evidence. Your future stops feeling like the future. It feels like home. You move as someone who isn't hoping anymore. You're remembering. This is when your manifestations appear out of nowhere. It's not magic. It's coherence finally expressing itself physically. People will look at you and assume things suddenly worked out. They won't see the inner reorganization, the silence, the identity shifts, the emotional releases, the moments when you held your new self while your old self tried to pull you back. They'll think it was easy for you. They'll think you're lucky. They won't understand that what they're witnessing is the outer expression of months of inner alignment. This is the truth almost no one grasps. Manifestation has never been about attracting. It's about becoming. When you become the person whose life naturally contains the things you desire, reality adjusts itself without strain. The quantum field doesn't send you gifts. It synchronizes with your signature. Manifestation becomes the byproduct of identity. And if you're feeling that subtle shift inside, that quiet readiness, that deeper grounding, that strange sense of inevitability, that is the sign that your identity is beginning to match the frequencies you've been planting. You are becoming the version of you the field has been waiting to respond to. If you want to deepen this alignment, if you want to strengthen your embodied identity, dissolve the subtle interference of old timelines, and broadcast a signal the universe can't ignore, then the next step isn't more thinking, it's more coherence. It's embodiment at a deeper level. Everything you need to anchor that shift, to stabilize your new frequency, to step fully into the identity your future requires, is inside the Awaken Your Quantum Power ebook and its practical companion guide. They were created for exactly this moment, the moment you're ready to move from knowing to becoming. The link is waiting for you in the pinned comment. If you feel the resonance, follow it. This is where your next reality begins, not with a thought, but with the identity that grows from it.